Hello, good afternoon everybody. I hope you can see me. My tripod hasn't arrived yet. Let me just tip that up a little bit because I don't want you to... That's it. Can you see me now? I think you can see me now. Okay. So I don't know who's coming online with me today, but I have... I don't know what to say really at all. Wait a minute, because I'm not prepared. Oh, there's two people here. I was going to stop it and start again. Okay, so yesterday, as you know, I embarked on a mission to make a chocolate cake recipe, which was given to me by a gentleman in America called Rick Almas and his brother Tommy Alexander. And he's in the process of putting together a family, if you like, a collection of family recipes that go back through his family many generations. And it's called the Chrysler's, now just let me see, Chrysler Kitchens. Okay, I'm just going to show you this here. Chrysler Kitchens, Recipes and Reminiscence. So he's created this, which is a really neat idea. It's a really great idea. I love it because he's obviously part of a very big family that sort of spreads out. And he sent me this recipe for their famous Aunt Alma Chrysler's sour cream chocolate cake recipe is now even more famous. And this is the message he sent me today, and because it actually made me a little bit teary. So I've only just was seeing this actually. Well, he didn't send it to me, it was on his page, and I was looking for the history of it and I was going to read it out, but it's very long, very interesting, but very long. So I thought anybody who wants to go on there, I'm sure it'd be happy for you to join. So it says, I hope that Karen Graham and all the rest of the Chrysler cousins are sitting down when they read this, because Aunt Alma Chrysler's sour cream chocolate cake recipe has become even more famous. It was made yesterday in this video by a professional chef in France. It's a long story about how Aunt Alma's recipe travelled all the way to Europe, but it started when Tommy Alexander found another group here on Facebook called La Patisserie Maison d'Hôte and Cookery School. Roughly translated, it means the little guest house, or what we would call a bed and breakfast here in America. And her husband are the owners of La Patisserie, and it's in the French countryside in the Loire Valley. Justine's originally from Yorkshire, England, but I think her husband was born in France. Yes, he was. He was actually born in Normandy, but then grew up in Périgueux, which is down in the southwest of France. And he spent 35 years as an expatriate, travelling around the world, working in hotels, running hotels, building hotels in places like Thailand, Africa, and then he spent 25 years in the UK. So he left home as a student to go to the École Hôtelière, which in those days was a very high level cookery school of management, and then he never went home. And it was only 7 years ago when we came back to France that he came back home. So it says they travelled all over Europe, and Justine studied the culinary arts in Paris, France. I think she's also worked at numerous gourmet restaurants in Europe. Justine and her husband have also been stuck in quarantine ever since this virus pandemic started. Since they had to close their guest house, Justine was left with a lot more free time on her hands, just like the rest of us. So she started making several videos every day talking about her daily life, their guest house and her garden, while she takes her dog Napo for a walk, Napoleon. Justine is also a writer, so she reads a lot of stories in her videos too. Do you know something? I think this is amazing. This is so brilliant. I'm so excited. Plus, she's also been giving lots of cookery demonstrations and showing her viewers how to make fancy dessert recipes. Long story short, Tommy has been following Justine and watching her videos every day, at least 3 months now. They quickly became internet pen pals, and since Tommy also loves to garden and he took a lot of writing courses in college too, so they've got a lot in common to chat about, and I think he's even given her suggestions for some of the stories she's writing. Yes, and he's brilliant, and I'm about to implement one of them tonight. Instead, by the way, Tommy and her friends call her by a nickname, JJ, instead of Justine. I really enjoy watching her videos too, especially when she's working in the kitchen. Unfortunately, I don't have as much spare time as Tommy does, since I also spend a lot of hours cooking and writing. Justine is a member of our Chrysler Kitchens group, so yesterday she decided to try making Aunt Alma's chocolate cake in this video, so they posted it. And then it goes on to say various things. She baked it in 2 smaller cake tins. I baked it in round cake pans before, so to use it as a layer cake. I'm a bit worried that her pans may not have been big enough. If her cake's cracked in the middle, then the batter didn't probably have enough room to rise. And you're absolutely bang on. But anyway, so that basically says, and there's a whole, you can read the rest of the post, but it's so lovely. She also makes several comments about filming her washing basket, so I probably need to explain that too. Anyway, he goes on to talk about that. As they say in French, bon appétit. So what I want to do today is make the frosting, and I'm going to show you my cakes. And all chefs know that when they make a screw up in the kitchen, they haven't got time to do it again. They have to figure out what to do. And it could be right at the middle of service, customers are waiting, you've dropped something, you've broken something, something hasn't quite turned out the way you thought it would turn out. And so therefore you've just got to go for it, and you've just got to really put everything in it, and you can rescue it back. And there's always a way to rescue it. So yes, you are quite correct, Rick. I cracked the cakes, and I think it's because I should have split it into three cake tins so that the cake would have had enough time to rise. But I'm happy because what I've ended up with is a chance to do something with it. And I always really, although I'm a bit nervous, I always like a chance to bring things round. Snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, as we say. So overnight I've cling filmed these cakes. I took them out of my pans onto a warming tray, and as Napo, we're busy, no barking. That's Napoleon, everybody. So I have this cake cooler, and what I did was I turned up my cakes, and obviously because the weight of the middle, that when you turn them over, you kind of force them out of the tin. I should have probably and then taken them out. But hindsight's always a wonderful thing, so I'm not going to fall over myself and worry about it. The more space the mixture has, clearly, it has to rise, the better. And that's why when you're obviously making someone else's recipe that you're not used to making, you don't actually know how it's going to turn out and how much volume. As I said yesterday, a lot of people, a lot of chefs I work with will weigh everything out, so they'll know that needs 1 kilo of batter in their pan. So Rick, I suggest perhaps that when you make it again, that you weigh the amount of, because you know how your tin and how much mixture it needs, and I suggest if you could possibly do that and maybe weigh the mixture that you feel is the correct amount, then that makes it easier for us. So yes, we did crack a bit, okay, but I'm not stressing about that, because once we've got our filling and our frosting, I'm going to layer this up. I'm going to layer this baby up so big it's going to look like the side of a house. What I would normally do is actually 2 things. Cut it in half for one, which I can't, because clearly it's cracked and it's not the end of the world, but that's how it is. And 2, what I would do, but it's not my recipe, so I'm sticking religiously to the recipe, is that I would do some sort of a syrup, and I would brush it just to give it that extra moistness in the cake. But it is actually quite moist. I'm quite happy with that. So let's move on. In my bowl, I've got the butter and the sugar. I think the best thing to do is you can go on and find the recipe on Chrysler Kitchens, because there are so many the different recipes and bits and bobs. You can have a scroll through there, and you can actually look at the just bear with me a second. I'm just going to get it back up on here because I'm trying to work from 2 phones at the moment. So if I can just get this recipe, that will make life a lot easier for us both. Oh God, I can't find it now. Oh, it's in the messages, that's why. Just bear with me a second. You see, the best people we're not perfect. I haven't got a cameraman. I haven't got a director telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing. There's just me and my mixer and my phone and my dog at the moment. Okay, so here it is. Here it is. The older messages. There we go. Let's see what we've got. See if I can get it up. Oh, it doesn't want to give it to me. Okay, so you can go on and find that, but it's basically sugar and butter, which I'm going to cream in here. You can message me if you can't find it, and I'm sure one of us will furnish you with the correct recipe. And I've got very soft butter in here. So do you remember yesterday we made the roux for the base of the frosting? That roux is 1 cup of skimmed milk and 1/3 of a cup of flour. And that's all you do is you make the roux, and it's kind of quite, I'll bring that a bit nearer. I've just scraped it out and cooled it down, but it's quite stiff, this roux, and it's well cooked. You don't want the roux to be tasting of flour, because that's the worst part. I've got my vanilla again for the frosting. The salt is in, 1/2 teaspoonful of salt, 1 teaspoonful of vanilla, and the butter flavouring, the famous butter flavouring. We don't have that in the UK. Anyone over in America, you will be able to get hold of that. We'll whisk this up. I'm just going to scrape it down because we had the same problem. It's only a small quantity. And just bear with me 1 second. So it's so exciting trying different recipes. And also we've all got a lack of ingredients at the moment, or a lack of funds, and we don't always have everything we need. So to have a special treat and make a nice chocolate cake is marvellous. Now I'm just going to scrape that down again, pop that back down. Right, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my roux, and we're going to let this keep going whipping for 10 minutes minimum. So I'm so excited. It's really exciting. Do you know, the one thing about America that I love, because I've visited America a lot, and the one thing that I really love is the huge big cakes with the frosting. And I know Rick talks about red velvet cake, but for visitors, that's what we would go for. We would see these enormous cakes, and you buy a portion and you can only eat like 3 spoonfuls of it, and you have to take the rest away. Now Europeans have no concept of takeaway, let me just tell you. To go, I think that's what you call it, to go. So we're going to let that go round. And we're going away. Hello! God, it's so noisy, isn't it? So we're just going to leave that going round because I've got something to show you all. This is a bit impromptu because it wasn't supposed to happen like this. And it's all of a sudden very sunny. But I'm just going to, well, shall I tell you what we're doing first? I don't know who's on it. Oh, Rick's on here. Hello, Rick. So I'm letting the frosting whip round. So our project before the season was to open this year, was to actually remove all of the exterior, what we call crépi. It's like a sand-based thin layer of cement which goes over the old stone. And so we got it all lined up that we had someone coming to do it. And we had to move all the plants. We was cute and pretty before, but it needed a new coating. And then we discovered an old door. Can you see that? There's the lintel of the old door. And inside there's like a little cupboard, like a little cubby hole, which I use as a bookcase. But we didn't know there was a door there. So what they did was this was the old porchery, the pigs, I can't speak English anymore. The piggery. And so the piggery was turned into actually an old laundry room, which then they turned into a building. And so what we did was we wanted to make it all nice and pretty and everything, and it's all gone horribly wrong. And so we're going to have to put all of that back, and then the whole house, the back, the front and the other side, has got to be skimmed with it's going to look beautiful, but it's going to be very similar to what it is now, but in a nice, very light stone cream colour, because this is all over the years. It's got dirty and humidity and everything in it. So it was an absolute, I cried my eyes out this morning when I saw that, 'cause yesterday it was all beautiful. Anyway, these things happen, and we've just got to live with it, and the boys are going to fix it, but we broke the drill, everything went wrong this morning, but never mind. And for those of you regular viewers, we used to have a big hedge here. We used to have a hedge like this, and it went all the way along here. And I want to make a memorial corner for Jean-Yves' mum, who we sadly lost in January. And so I said to him, I'd really like to build a nice kind of rose arch there and put roses and honeysuckle, and this is the leftover tree stumps. We've now got to bring a tractor in to actually pull. The roots go right out to here, right out here. It's probably going to ruin the lawn. And then you can see there's more light coming into this corner, so all my flower beds will grow. So every cloud has a silver lining, and at least we get to eat chocolate cake this afternoon. But Sheila, don't collapse with shock. Hurry up, woman, I'm salivating here. Yeah, but it's so noisy, and I want to make sure that the frosting is absolutely whipped up as long as it can whip up. So let's go and have a look. Oh my gosh! Oh my lord, look at that! Saved me a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to let that go another couple of minutes because it really needs to be whipped. A few flowers. I know you're waiting for cake, but you can't have everything. So let's have a look at them. Come on, Naps. Come and say hello to everyone. Manapo's my right-hand boy, aren't you? Oh, I've got the horrendous glasses on today. I'm not looking my best. Say hello to everybody. People are watching you from all over the world. Do you know that? Naps, do you know that? Napoleon Cotard. Do you know you're famous now? 4 corners of the world. He was either going to be called Nelson or Napoleon. So Napoleon won because I didn't fancy shouting Nelson down the garden. So I've just planted up a few bits and pieces to fill up this bed, and the French lavender's growing nicely. And let's just try my zoom out because there's a little bee just sat on there. Can you see him? A little bee taking his nectar. Oh, this camera's amazing on this phone. Look at that. There he's gone. The agapanthus are just on the way to coming out. We've got lots of fruit on our nectarine tree, and I think this frosting might well be done. Shall we go and see, Naps? Come on, shall we go and see? And if you're very good, you can have a good boy biscuit. Would you like a good boy biscuit? Come on, that'll tempt him back. So yes, today hasn't exactly gone as planned, but when we get this cake finished, my goodness, it's going to be great. Woo! I'm going to put you back on there. Okay. Oh my God, don't fall over. Don't fall over. Now, I really don't... Oh, it's fantastic. I don't really know whether... Do I need a whisk? I've got my pea beater on, Rick. Do you use a whisk? Or to get more air into it? Or do you just use this beater? If you're online, perhaps you'd like to... just give me a little piece of information there, because that could be very useful. I mean, it looks fairly light and fairly fluffy. My God, I just have to taste that again. Oh, yum! It's quite sweet, but it's very nice. Let me look. What does Rick say? What does Rick say? Napo, yay. Man Shepherd looks amazing. Send some chocolate cake to Brompton. I'm pretty happy with that. It looks slightly split, and I'm wondering whether I need a whisk. Does that look right to you, Rick? Because it looks a tiny bit split to me. But that's fine. What I would do now, I'm just wondering whether to try one of my tricks on this. Hold on, folks. We're in for a bumpy ride. So let's just pop that back here. When you've got a very rich buttery frosting like this, and you beat it for a very long time, sometimes it can split a tiny bit. And what you really want is to, don't be alarmed, what you really want is to get it on high. Stay with me, folks. When they're making butter, what we would call butter icing, which is crème au beurre. And when we make crème au beurre, you'll find that it will slightly split at one point, and to get it back to a coherent cream, you then have to just heat gently the... I feel I should have my chef's jacket on today, because I feel a bit as if I should be more reverent to the whole thing. So I have a selection, obviously, as you do when you're me, of equipment, so that I'm ready for every occasion. I'd also like to say, can you see me? I hope you can all see me, because I did just move the camera slightly. Let's just make sure you can all see me. I wish I was there. Oh, wow, it's amazing. Hang on. God, my tripod has not arrived. I'm very upset about my tripod not coming. This apron came from Carolina, from JT. Jacqueline Thomas, my wonderful friend who lives over in Carolina, and she sent this to me, and it's made in Charlotte in Carolina. I don't want to go too far away, but it's a double-sided super duper apron, and I must say I'm a bit crazy for aprons. I had one which Christine, who's watching, bought me a lovely chicken apron. I love chickens, and I put it in with a pair of pink knickers, and so that was a big fail. So it ended up a funny grey, bluey, weird sort of colour. Right, I'm going to put my frosting in the middle of the cake, and then I'm just going to literally tease that across with my palette knife, and we're just going to put that to the edge. And then I'm going to put this one, because it's the better of the two, she says, laughing, on the top. And I'm not overly, okay, we know this is the first time I've ever done this recipe, and it's not an easy thing to do when you're trying to live up to somebody else's way of doing it. And normally I at least practice things before I'm doing them, so when I'm doing them on the camera, they look okay. You can see it's just slightly split, but that's fine. That'll be fine. It tastes divine. The frosting is absolutely... Sorry, I'll just move my bowl. I'm used to working alone. And let's just feed that over the top. We want to go all the way round. It's fun, but it's also a little bit nerve-wracking, because you want everything to go properly and you want it to work. But when you're making this is our fun time really at the moment. Send in your recipes, anything new, anything a bit different, and let's have a go. If we've got the ingredients, let's have a go. So I know you obviously in America will go probably 3 high, and we're just going to tease that down the sides of the cake, and I'm sure it'll be absolutely yummy delicious. But the roux-based filling is quite interesting, because I've never seen that before, but it actually works really well. I don't know what benefit to the actual cake it does bring, because it's certainly not light, but at the end of the day, it's just a different texture. Yeah, it's very similar to our creme au beurre. Very similar to our creme au beurre. So obviously the amount of frosting for this cake, this is turning to it, it's like something off bloody children's TV, this, isn't it? But, you know, normally that would probably be for a smaller cake, I would imagine, and you would have more frosting and less cake. But we've just gone and walloped it all into a big 2-layered. I'm probably going to have to do something with the top, Rick, and I know it's probably not what Auntie would have done, but hey, everything's up for improvement, isn't it? Although I feel a bit as if I'm in this sort of strange twilight zone of generations where everybody's going to be going, oh my God, they didn't make it like that at home. Well, we're doing our very best to transport this recipe to another era, and it's certainly not flat, but there we go, we tried. And then I think that the best thing to do is probably to put a little bit of, I don't know what you would do, you would just keep it white, wouldn't you? We're more into sort of decorating the top. You probably just keep it all snowy white, but I just can't help doing my little thing on it. So let's just put that on there, and let's just, with a little palette knife, let's do that. And what can we do? It's definitely a tricky little monkey, because it's just not entirely, It's a bit like an old house. The walls are a little bit wobbly, but hey. So I think that's all we're going to do on that one, because quite clearly I'm trying to follow the recipe that was given to me, and I have no idea really what it is supposed to look or taste like, but more or less I think we've executed that one and it's not too bad. It's not my usual style, but hey. And I think the best thing to do now, who wants a taste? So let's get a plate and let's get a knife and let's see what it looks like. Right, which is my better knife for the job? Get a good knife for the job, and some forks for you all. There's nobody here. There's only me and Napo here. I feel like we should all be having a nice cup of tea with it. That's what we do. That's definitely what we do. And I think our neighbours are going to enjoy this too, because there's no way on the earth I'm going to be able to manage to eat anywhere near all of this. But I sure as hell am going to try. Wow, what do you think, Rick? What do you think? It's not bad, is it, eh? Can you see? Can you see? I don't want it to slip off the plate. Rick, are you still with me? I hope you're still with me. So let's just do this. Oh! Oh! It's delicious! Napo, you can't have any because chocolate's poisonous for dogs. So I'm really sorry, but oh my God. Oh, yes. Oh, that is wonderful. That is absolutely delicious. No, seriously. I think you're right. The actual depth of the pan's important. As I said yesterday, one of the things that most people do wrong when they're replicating someone else's recipe is that they get the size of the tin wrong. Oh my God, I have to finish that bit. So there we go. There is Aunt Alma's chocolate frosted sour cream and chocolate cake. Oh my God, it really is good, folks. It really is good. Is anybody still there? Is anybody watching? Oh, wow. Hang on. Told you you'd like the frosting cake. It looks beautiful. Oh, fantastic. Whenever I use this, I make a double batch of frosting. Oh, a double batch. Oh, my God. Now you tell me. Now you tell me. A double batch of frosting when we only made one. But, hey, it's fine. Honestly. Yes, it could do with a tiny bit more. Thank you so much for sending that in. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Yeah, do you know why? Do you know why? Because the butter, I put it outside to soften, and it's organic butter from our local dairy, and it softened a bit too quick. But that's fine. I mean, it's absolutely... Boys, I'm very grateful to you for sending this recipe in. But the thing that I have to do is I have to have a bit with all the frosting on it. And I should have made a double mix. It's fabulous. How grotesque was that? I should have eaten that off camera. Honestly. I tell you what, just bear with me a second. How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? Stay there. Do not move. I know you can see my washing basket. But that's fine. I am going to give you something very special. If I can get something to work. Are you still there? Oh, hang on. I'm filming myself again. Da 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 da. I'm going to give you 11 out of 10. It's absolutely beautiful. So I urge all of you to go and have a look at Tommy and Rick's site. And I'm just going to go see if I can get it back. Oh no, I can't find it. If anyone wants to join, get in touch with me. Leave a message on this actual feed. I better invest in a metal K-bit mixer. Yeah, Mandy. I actually probably would have used the K-beater and then put a whisk on this afterwards, but that's fine. Let me go back to that. What other messages here? The frosting melts really easy. Yeah, it's need to be made in a cool kitchen and stored in the refrigerator. That's a very good point. You want it soft enough to spread, but you don't want it so soft that it actually rolls off your cake. Oh my God, honestly, it's too good. Fabulous. Hillary, please can you send some chocolate cake to Brompton? I'd be delighted. Wish I could. Bernadette, hello Bernadette. Sheila, Christine, Sonia's with us. Sonia, you'll be getting this making this recipe. I can tell you, it's delicious. So, Jane, another book coming from recipes given to you from across the world. Cookery weekends. I posted a recipe on the page yesterday under visitors post. Okay, everybody, you can find the recipes there. Thank you so much, Tommy. Very kind of you. And it's been great to have you all this afternoon. I think if anybody else wants to send in a recipe, we should do that, shouldn't we? Would anybody like to do a tarte tatin? Because I've got some apples left over and I was thinking maybe tomorrow I would make a proper tarte tatin. So if anybody would like to come and follow me and we'll make one of those tomorrow, you're very welcome to join me. And I can't wait for the next of their recipes. Rick, Tommy, and Aunt Alma, you're absolutely a star. See you all later.